Hi, I'm Bill Gaines, host of the Outdoor View, the place where we educate, connect, and learn to protect our outdoor traditions. Today, I have the pleasure of having with me Krista Modlin, who is with the National Wild Turkey Federation, represents them out here in California. Krista, tell us a little bit about yourself and the National Wild Turkey Federation and what good things you guys are doing here in California.
Yeah, hi, I'm Krista. I actually live up in Northern California. I was born and raised in Sacramento and then transplanted up north, went to Humboldt State. Now work for the Turkey Federation. Still live up north up there. I've been working with the Turkey Federation now for a little over a year, so made it my first year around under my belt. We got several things going on. A big time consumption on my part is the stewardship projects that we have with our federal partners. And so that's where we partner with the U.S. Forest Service to help implement any projects they got going on. We have 4 now in California. We had 2 a year ago. Now we're up to 4. So we have one on the Sequoia, on the El Dorado, one now on the Klamath National Forest, which is our big salvage pilot project. And then we're starting one up on the Six Rivers National Forest. So we got the stewardships going on. I also track in policy and have different coalitions for all the different states. So I don't just cover California. I also cover Oregon, Washington, and Nevada. And then as well as that, I got this mentored hunt program currently going on as well. So I got a whole bunch of different stuff. You never know what's going to come at you.
Yeah, that's one thing I love about the Turkey Federation. I've been a member for a long time, and you guys got some really good stuff going on across the board, like you just mentioned. You know, on your actual on-the-ground habitat projects, I know you mentioned you partner a lot with the U.S. Forest Service and so forth. I would imagine a lot of that work has to do with some of the sweeping wildfires that we've had here in the state over the course of the last few years.
Oh yeah, definitely. So it's either on the offense or defensive because you have what's gonna burn and what has already burned basically in California. 2 of our older stewardships were affected by fire. So we've had to adapt and overcome that. It was supposed to be a fuels reduction project on the Sequoia, but the fire took out all the fuels. So we had to change it to, prescribed burn in the future to keep that fuel load down. So it's a lot of it is preventative work. Fuel breaks and whatnot. And then the project up on the Klamath is our first salvage project up here in California. With just the influx of salvage logging up here, California's market is flooded with that. So some of that wood is actually going to be shipped to a mill in South Dakota that's hurting as well. So it's a pretty large scale project. A lot of different partners going on up there. Work is supposed to start as early as next week. So more to come on that project. Very politicized project. It has to do with the wildfire crisis strategy funding that we got from the Forest Service. So yeah, you'll see a lot of publicity coming your way on that.
I'm looking forward to seeing that. Yeah, I know you guys are doing some good stuff up there. And these projects that you're doing aren't just good for turkeys. I mean, they're good for wildlife across the board as well.
Oh yeah, we don't just care just about turkeys. I mean, we love turkeys, but there's so many other species that benefit, the deer, the bear, everything else too. So yeah.
Yeah, and that's real good stuff for sure. And you mentioned how politically active you are, and I can vouch for that because I work closely with you on the policy front. And a lot of stuff going on in California with the legislature just firing up, as you know. But holy smokes, it's not just in California. You have some tough states on your plate with what's going on up in Oregon and a little bit farther north up in Washington, Nevada. That's a plateful, Krista.
Oh gosh, yeah, it's keeping me on my toes. I'm grateful California is more on the quiet side or quieter side than my other 2, or Oregon and Washington are my problem states this year. I'm still fairly new to policy. I worked for the federal government prior to this job, where that's a big no-no. So this last year, I've really taken in learning that and diving into different coalitions. I was one of the founding members up there on the Washington Coalition. And so we're just getting that one off the ground as well.
Yeah, those coalitions really pay off. We've got our hunting and conservation coalition here in California, which has really made a difference on how effective we can be on killing bad legislation and passing good legislation. So kudos to see. I know Oregon's doing some really super stuff on that front because I get their emails on that, and of course Washington as well. So good stuff going on as far as our ability to fight back. But boy, more and more to fight back on. And you mentioned California. Yeah, a lot of news coming your way because we're just warming up. Like I got a couple of emails I'm going to send you later today that are going to update you on some stuff that just happened just in the last 24 hours. So,
Oh God.
yeah, so keep your fingers crossed. We're not done yet over here. Yeah, I hope it stays quiet, but yeah, it's just now starting to warm up a little bit. Another thing that you guys do a fantastic job of is the R3 program. And that's the retain, recruit, and reactivate program that's going on here in a big way in California, but nationwide as well, in an effort just to get more hunters and anglers in the field. And Turkey Federation, I think, does that as good or better than any organization out there. You got your Jake's program, for example. I love your Jake's program. I mean, that's classic. I mean, spend just a couple minutes on telling people about that program, because if they've got youth that are thinking about getting in the outdoor, the Jake's program is a great way to do it.
Yeah, it's really important to start them young and early. Get them the ethics down and get them enthusiastic about it as well. So our Reading chapter actually just got recognized at our national convention for their work with the Jake's program out there. They just did a Jake's hunt for the youth hunt weekend last week. It went pretty successfully. I do banquets and stuff afterwards for the kids and kind of celebrate, teach them how to properly take down the bird and eat the bird and all that stuff as well. But yeah, unfortunately, I don't get to be involved in all that kind of fun stuff too much. But
yeah, well, you're going to be involved maybe a little bit in it this weekend, and we're going to talk about that in a second. For people that don't know, a Jake turkey is a young tom turkey, and so the term Jake's program is perfect. It's a program that deals with young hunters, right? That's one thing that's cool about it, and another thing that I think is super about the Jake's program and youth is turkey hunting is a great window into the sport of hunting. I mean, I think it's a perfect introductory species, if you will.
oh, totally. That's how I started too. My very first species of hunting was with turkey. It was also my husband's as well. So our very first interaction going out there. You can't beat interacting with the birds and having it gobbling in your face and shaking your whole body. It's addicting once you get into it. It's hard to stop.
It really is. So tomorrow you got some really good stuff going on. Now you're up at the Sacramento National Wildlife Refuge in Northern California right now, correct? Tell us a little bit about what the Turkey Federation has got going on for the opener tomorrow.
Yeah, so tomorrow morning we're meeting 4 novice hunters. And so it's either people who've never hunted before or people who've never hunted turkey before. So we have 4 mentored hunters with guides coming out to the refuge. We've been out scouting the birds. They have a really good chance of getting their first turkey tomorrow. You can't beat it. The sun's finally shining. And so it's a partnership. So it's with the National Wild Turkey Federation, with U.S. Fish and Wildlife, and then California Waterfowl Association helped us put this on. It's really a huge group effort, and California Waterfowl is hosting the draw for us. And so if anyone's interested, I believe like the last 2 weekends are still available for people to apply for. So go on, visit California Waterfowl Association website, look for the mentored turkey hunts. It doesn't cost anything to apply for the draw. It's no fee at all. So get on there and apply if you're interested. And if you've never hunted before, if you have a youth hunter that's never hunted before, it's a wonderful opportunity.
Yeah, no, that sounds fantastic. And turkey season runs for what, roughly 6 weeks. And you guys are doing it every weekend, correct?
Yep. So every weekend, it's just on weekends that we're doing it. So we switch back and forth between the Sacramento and the Delavan Wildlife Refuge. So at Sacramento Refuge, we have 4 hunters on those weekends. And then when we're at Delavan, we get 2 hunters hunting that area for that weekend as well. Last year was a huge success. Hunt didn't go past 10 o'clock. Everyone was done by noon and out the door. So really successful last year. So hopefully we can build upon that and be just as good this year.
Now you said you've got 4 people going out tomorrow. They're all going out with guides, of course, which is a big help if you're a novice turkey hunter.
Yeah.
And I'll bet the competition between those guides must be fierce as far as the first one's in and so on and so forth. I can just see that taking place for sure.
Oh yeah, and I know one of the hunters is like this young 9-year-old girl tomorrow. I'm rooting for her big time. The rest are like young teenage boys. I'm hoping they're all for the best, but you got to root for the little girl. They're always closer to my heart.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Especially at 9 years old. That's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and in fact, one of the guides is going to be, I'm going to interview him a little bit later today, and I'm going to see if I can work some of his top secret turkey tips out of him. So we'll get that interview on the Outdoor View here sometime very, very soon as well. Certainly before turkey season gets too old, because I want people to be able to use those tips this year when they're out in the field.
Yep, you're going to be talking to Dalton Torpy. He is actually our hunting coordinator for the refuge as well. So he's an NWTF rep out there. A lot of good experience. He's young, but has a lot of experience for how young he is.
No, absolutely. And I can vouch for that because I've hunted deer with Frog when he guided me on a deer hunt last fall. And I think he was 17 or something at the time. But I mean, 17 going on 47 when it came to experience. He just grew up doing this stuff. So he's got, 17-year-old has got like 15 years of experience under his belt.
Oh, yeah. So he's going to be good and put on a good hunt for everyone that's coming out for that program.
Now, he was with you when you got your first bird, right?
He was guiding me when he was like 12 years old. I thought it was a joke. I worked for the Forest Service at the time. And our law enforcement officer for the Forest Service was like, "Hey, you want to shoot a turkey?" And I was like, "Well, sure." And he's like, "I'm going to send you out with my kid." And I'm thinking, 20-year-old, this 12-year-old shows up
right
and takes me out on their property. They got a huge ranch out there, and got my first turkey out there with Frog, and he was 12 years old guiding me.
That's amazing. Yeah, no, he's definitely wise beyond his years. Yeah. Another story that I've heard a little bit about you and turkeys was, I believe you went turkey hunting on your wedding day. Is that correct?
Yep. So back when COVID hit, our wedding was canceled. And so instead of like moping around and not having a wedding, I grabbed my what would have been husband at the time, or husband now,
Right.
and drug him out. It was his first time ever turkey hunting. I might have threatened him a little bit, like if you flinch too much or move, the wedding's off in the future. And he was good, and we ended up getting my first home ever that day too. And so that was our celebratory wedding day turkey.
That's classic. Now, you were guiding him, I would imagine, at that time, right?
Oh yeah, and we had another friend actually. Frog's brother came with us.
Oh, okay.
And so the three of us just went out. We had a good time. Just kind of more wanting to get my husband out there because I kept leaving him.
Right.
And so I was like, "I'm tired of leaving you. It's time for you to come and enjoy it with us."
Yeah, that's fantastic. I love that story. That just cracks me up. But you did officially hold a wedding ceremony at some point a little bit later on when the COVID cleared up a little bit, right?
Yeah, actually, just over a month ago, we finally had it.
Oh, good. Well,
Yeah.
congratulations on that. Yeah.
you.
So today, with the opener being tomorrow, Krista, I mean, today you guys are, I assume, are out there building blinds and just kind of gearing up. Did you do some scouting today?
Yeah, we did a little bit of scouting. Frog or Dalton has been out there all week, or since Wednesday, kind of watching the patterns of the birds and whatnot, kind of seeing where they're going. We've got a couple of blinds up right now. Dalton is still building a blind kind of as we speak. And then so this evening, we're kind of going to go out and see where the roost trees are. We're going to go out with binoculars. We're not going to get too close. We don't want them to get smart on us now or think we're onto something. So be out there with binoculars and with our ears, listening and watching carefully and seeing where they're going to go.
That's one thing I really like about turkey hunting. I mean, you can put them to bed, right? I mean, you can't do that with ducks. You can't do that with deer. You can't do that with anything else. But turkeys, you can put to bed. And if you're careful and you don't screw up in the morning, and I got a little story along those lines, I'll tell you. I mean, especially if you know their patterns or any of that kind of stuff. I mean, it can make for a really, really quick and successful hunt, but it's easy to make a mistake if you don't know where they're roosting, because I've blown them out of roost trees just trying to work my way to where I thought would be a good spot, pre-dawn, and boom, they come busting out and you're thinking, well, that's screwed up, right? So yeah, so putting them to bed and knowing where they're at and being careful to keep a safe distance can certainly enhance your chances of success tomorrow. So if Frog's been out there for a few days, he's a smart guy. He knows those birds' tendencies for sure. So if I had to pick one of the 4 guys to hunt with, I'd be hunting with Frog.
I would second that for sure. Nothing against the other people, of course.
Yeah, exactly. So the people that may be interested, you mentioned you still have a couple of weekends that are open. It's Saturday and Sunday. It's not just Saturdays. Is that correct?
Yeah, so it's the same hunter. So if they don't get a bird Saturday, they can go back out Sunday, but they only get one weekend. So it's the
I
same.
get you. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, very, very good. And you go to the California Waterfowl website and sign up there. Okay, no cost. I mean, if you get drawn, is there a cost?
No, probably just your travel to get here.
Right?
But that's about it. Yeah, and make sure you have your turkey upland game bird stamp and all the right equipment and stuff too. But other than that, there's no other cost.
But you can leave your calls at home because you got people like Frog that are doing all that work for you, right?
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Well, that's fantastic stuff. Best of luck to you guys on that. And I look forward to talking with Frog a little bit later today. And I've been hunting turkeys a long time, but I'll bet even he can show me some stuff. So I'm looking forward to chatting with him about what his secrets may be. Another program that the Turkey Federation does that is really near and dear to my heart is your Wheeling Sportsman program. And I've got my own personal story about the Wheeling Sportsman program with my youngest daughter, who's got cerebral palsy, and she's in a wheelchair. And with the help of some members from the Turkey Federation, just a few years back, we actually carried her in her chair down a real steep hill, put her in a turkey blind to help me get her down the hill, up the hill, and all that types of stuff. So they're doing some really good stuff to get people out in the field that otherwise couldn't get out of the field. So kudos to the Turkey Federation on that as well. So now, Krista, are you going out in the field tomorrow, or are you going to hang back in the headquarters, or what are your plans for the opener?
I'm going out and having and watching the fun. I'm not going to be left in the parking lot.
Good for you. Are you going out with Frog then, or who are you going out with?
Of course.
I'll be looking forward to getting the reports on how people do tomorrow. I'll bet you nobody's going to be hunting Sunday. Well, thank you so much for coming on today and telling us about the good stuff the Turkey Federation is doing. Thanks for getting those new turkey hunters out in the field tomorrow. That's awesome. Look forward to seeing some of the results, posted on our Facebook page so we can share that with our viewers as well. And keep up the good work on the ground. I mean, I've been on the ground for some of the Turkey Federation's projects. And like we said, I mean, it goes far beyond just good for turkeys. I mean, it's good for deer, elk. I mean, whatever critters may be in that area. I mean, those projects are a huge benefit to them, above and beyond just being good for turkeys. So thank you for your help on that. Thank you for your help politically as well. One thing about the Turkey Federation, you guys, it doesn't have to be about turkeys for you guys to get engaged. Any type of hunting, you guys have always been there at the table to ensure that type of hunting is protected. Well, thanks again for coming on today, Krista, and thanks for your good work with the National Wild Turkey Federation. And thanks to our viewers for checking in with the Outdoor View today. Check us out on our Facebook page, on our YouTube channel, and on our website at www.theoutdoorview.org.